Hey guys, thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Thank you.
I'm calling in from San Francisco. Where are you guys?
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
What's St.
So
Paul?
for us three.
St. Paul, Minnesota. Right on. Well, hey, hello everybody. Hello audiences. Welcome to the 24th San Francisco Independent Film Festival 2022. I'm Jason Wallace. I'm one of the SF Indie Fest programmers. The festival is presented in person at the Roxy and virtually, coming up February 3rd to 13th. If you're watching this, you probably just watched the wonderful, sweet little film Undergrads, directed by Andrew Zuckerman, who is kind enough to join us here today with producer John, right? John Cronin, and a couple wonderful actors, Trace and Dylan. Hey guys, hey again. Thanks for joining us. Good to
Thanks
have
for
you
having
here,
us.
and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
So, hey, is this your first feature film, Andrew?
Yes, it is.
Okay, but I
Please
think I
do.
saw in the bio description you guys are working together a little bit. You made some high school films, right? Has this crew been working together for a while?
Yeah, Dylan, we started in high school junior year. We made a movie called Rasco, which was technically a feature. It was just a Western. It was like 45 minutes. But then before that, I've just been doing stuff in high school and middle school with friends. Um, but yeah, Dylan just kind of came to me and was interested in movies. So we started doing stuff together.
Cool. And then what about John here with us and Trace? When did your collaboration with them start? For this picture or for all the earlier stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
John, do you want to talk about it?
Oh, I was just going to jump in and say, yeah, I went to high school with Andrew and Dylan. I was actually played a very minor role in Rasco. Um,
It brought me to tears though,
they
John.
invited
It
me
was beautiful.
yeah, they invited me aboard to help them with like the business and logistics of undergrads. I don't have a film background. I'm like an advertising major, so I was just helping with locations, logistics, travel, food, budget, stuff like that.
Right on. And so are you guys all filmmakers now? What are you doing right now? All four of you. Let me start with the director, Andrew, and then I'll go around the room. What are you guys doing right now?
Yeah, right now I'm just working in Minnesota, but been writing because we're hoping to get another movie going shortly.
Got it. John, how about you? What are you doing now?
I'm just working at a nonprofit, just living that life. Yeah, again, not film, but I would hope to come on board and work on another movie as well.
So do you two so far you still have film ambitions? You want to make more movies? You want to be in the film business?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool. And do you guys think you'll ever, if necessary, leave St. Paul or Minnesota?
Yeah, if the opportunity is right. Dylan and I, we went out to LA a couple summers ago and interned and did like script development. But yeah, if it makes sense, I would like to go back out there.
Cool. And then Trace and Dylan, full-time actors living in Hollywood, living the big dreams.
You can go first, Trace. Go ahead.
I actually am living in Hollywood. Not as shiny and bright as they say, but it is great geographically. But it is super cool. I am out in LA, doing auditions and making it work.
Very cool. Dylan, what are you up to?
I'm still back in Minnesota as well. Like writing, same as Andrew, just kind of trying to get some scripts going to get something else made. Hopefully be able to act in some other little projects. I'm always kind of looking for local things that I could maybe audition for and just keep doing that kind of creative work and hopefully, like Andrew said, have a reason, find a way to get back out to LA for a little bit.
So you'd like to do this long term?
Yeah.
Now, you just said looking for stuff in Minnesota. What's the kind of independent film scene? You guys can all answer this at whatever one wants to answer first. What's the independent film scene like in St. Paul or where you're living?
Honestly, it's not extremely active as far as like when I'm looking through backstage, there at any given time, there might not be even any shorts or features looking for cast. But there's steady work, a lot of commercial work up here, like people on our crew who work up here, a lot of commercials. You'll see short films that we made here and there, but we were definitely the only feature being shot in Minnesota for a second there, especially in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah. Other guys, how about what's the film scene like in Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as knowledgeable. I know they just passed a new tax credit this past year, which might encourage more productions. I think they had that in the past, like the late 90s, early 2000s. I believe they had that in place, and there was a little bit more being made here. Yeah, hopefully, I mean, I think as we started this production, I think some of a minor goal along with it, I think, was to encourage more of our film community to just go out and just make a feature, to get more, put our state on the map a little bit more. So hopefully others can follow suit.
Cool. Andrew, you want to answer this question? What's happening with the independent film scene there?
Yeah, I'd say Dylan and John pretty much got it. I'm not super familiar because for the most part, the stuff we were doing, it was really just like me and like Dylan and then friends from high school. So beyond that, I think there's a lot of like shorts, like there's a good film school here. So there's a lot of students that we actually collaborated with that went to that school. And I know they're always doing shorts and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I always got the sense there's a pretty cool film scene there, at least a creative scene in St. Paul, Minneapolis. I've been to a couple of film festivals there with some films and very cool crowds, cool people. So was the area pretty supportive in making this movie? Did you guys have to reach out to community to get some favors? How hard was it? What were some challenges of making this movie?
Yeah, I mean, location wise, gotta give a shout to our bar Bogies. They were the first that came aboard, very generous with their space, their time, their staff. And yeah, just going around looking for.
How about their booze? Was that real booze you guys were drinking in the scenes?
Trace, can you speak to that?
That would be unprofessional. I would never do that. But I do want to shout out the bartender, Robbie. He was incredible. We had some nights where we were at Bogies until literally when the sun came up. And he was sticking with us through it all. And he absolutely did not need to do that, but he did. And he was so much fun to work with. And as you saw, a natural in front of the camera. So that was really.
That is him. The real bartender is in the shot. Yeah.
That's him. Yeah.
Very cool. And then what about Dylan, Andrew? How was the community helping you make the movie? How difficult was it, or any challenges making the movie for you guys?
Yeah, you can go first, Andrew. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I think everyone was pretty supportive, like all the locations, just because, it's really easy here because nobody is really making stuff. So everyone's really excited. And like, you don't really, if you have to pay, it's going to be pretty little because people just really want you to come and shoot. And it's almost like a promotion to the business. Like at Bogies, we'll probably give them a poster and they'll hang it up inside. And, but yeah, everyone is pretty excited. And yeah, it's fun to shoot here besides the weather.
Right.
It's unpredictable and we got rained out a bunch and stuff like that. But
yeah, at least you didn't shoot in the wintertime there, right? Dylan, you want to add to that?
That pretty much covers it. I think we found a lot of support from businesses and from local crew and from local equipment houses, private equipment rental people, just like kind of across the board. Given our circumstances, I think that it was like we couldn't have done it without the community we had around us for sure.
Yeah, it seems like, you got some production value in there with the kind of the various locations. It seems bigger than maybe the budget was. It's a sweet little film, guys. I'm actually kind of pissed that you made such a great little movie at your age. I was dreaming of being a filmmaker then too and making short films, but I didn't make a feature yet. At least I didn't make a short film that well. This is really, really good. Not to blow your heads up here. I don't want to contain it, but it's pretty, well edited. It's intricately woven, nice stories, real characters. The acting is great. Trace, Dylan, you guys did great jobs. Is that because you're just wonderful actors, or is it because of Andrew's direction, or is it a little bit of everything? What was the collaboration like for the actors and Andrew?
Dylan, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, for me, all the things that Andrew and I made, I would always act in. And I think with this one, it was like I would definitely say like Andrew is able to kind of create an atmosphere where we're able to, I guess, kind of feel comfortable on playing around in scenes, and sort of it made an atmosphere where we could, like, if Trace and I were working in the scene, it felt like we could collaborate. And Andrew would always be good with just giving that one note to kind of make the scene make more sense or make something click if it wasn't.
Got it. So one note. So you probably have a shorthand having a history together, so you didn't need to over explain or anything, right? You kind of, and you were a co-writer, right? Did Dylan and Andrew, you guys wrote this together?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So that probably helped in your acting as well. And then Trace, when did you come on board?
I came on board just for this. I met him for this project through Ali Rosenthal, another actor in the movie. She connected us and I auditioned. But yeah, so I didn't have that rep that Dylan had with him before, but I still felt, by pretty quickly we started realizing that we kind of have to develop that. And like Dylan said, it was an extremely, extremely collaborative environment. It's an indie film. It was a smaller crew, kind of a big cast actually for an indie, but
yeah, that's kind of an ensemble for sure.
Yeah. And it was an incredible experience collaborating with all these artists because I just felt really comfortable to be able to discuss scenes with Andrew, even like a couple of scenes being like, hey, the night before we were about to go, just showing him my thoughts on the scene and us talking about it, or the day of us talking about it with the other cast members as well, constantly throughout the whole filming process. And it was really cool.
And so there was an audition process. You came on through casting, and then how far in advance was that? Did you have time to rehearse?
We had some Zoom rehearsals a little bit. We had like one or two maybe, and like some quasi chem reads with Chloe. But it was, when was it, Andrew? Like end of,
It was like really soon.
Yeah, it was like end of June, early July, and then we started filming like mid-July. It was
So how many days before was that when you got cast to when you started principal photography?
2 weeks tops.
Yeah, that's quick. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of waiting until pretty close to the start there, Andrew.
Yeah, we were casting for like a while. We did casting in Chicago and Minnesota, and then Ali Rosenthal, who I met at a party, she kind of helped assemble like most of the cast. And there are some.
She's an actress in the movie.
Yeah, she plays Sam.
Sam, okay.
And
the one dating the Italian guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right.
And there are some local talent like CJ Xavier. He's from Minnesota. Van and Lizzie plays Carly. We went to high school with them. So it's like a mixture of Minnesota, and then I guess the rest is just Ali connected us with.
Right. Yeah, Trace, you did a great job. I mean, I would have thought you were one of their high school buddies. I mean, the chemistry that you guys created, Andrew, or because of the history or whatever, the rehearsals, it felt like you guys grew up in high school, all of you, the whole cast, the women too, and were just kind of extensions of yourself almost. It was that natural.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Good job. Was there any ever, challenges with the scenes, acting, like, for example, playing drunk? I know Drew had some, drunken times. How hard was it to play those things, or, kind of the breakup or sex scenes or whatever you want to call them? How difficult were those?
Yeah, Mom, it was really hard to play drunk since I had never been before. So that was
Seriously?
probably the most
You're-
challenging.
Seriously?
No, not really. Well, God, my mom's at this probably, but anyways, yeah, no, it was great because I think they saved a lot of those more difficult scenes for later on in the shooting process. And so by the time we got to some of the more difficult ones, and obviously I can only speak for my scenes with Chloe, it was extremely professional. We knew each other really well, and we always communicated before with each other about how we wanted to go about it. And yeah, I don't know if Dylan, you had any thoughts on that, Andrew?
Well, Dylan, for me, the one scene that seemed challenging was your drunken night trying to reconnect with your old girlfriend, your ex, or whatever, and that was a little tense. It got me a little anxious, which is a compliment to the acting and the tension created in the performances.
Thank you. And that was a fun, that was like a 1 day little segment of shooting. It was a lot of fun to work that scene. Lizzie is amazing too, which made it all the more enjoyable. But just because that was sort of an isolated shoot with that scene, we were able to run it. We rehearsed it a lot, and we were able to run it a lot, and kind of break the scene up into segments. So we had a lot of opportunities to play around with the scene a little bit, plenty of opportunities to have conversations with Andrew about how to make the scene go, how to get it.
So you got the scenes, and I truly mean this. They're touching and real. Like I like to use the word real. And how do you guys think you accomplish that? Like, I mean, besides you giving it your all and your skills and your training, but like, where was that magic? Where did that come from? Anyone can answer.
I think what helped, because obviously we had the script, but I think just giving everyone like the ability to kind of just like riff off it and just kind of like do what they wanted. I obviously stick to the content, but like doing it in their own way, I guess, and kind of speak it how they want to speak it, I think helps. And I think it made everyone feel like, they could just kind of like, I don't know, like riff on it or just play around really.
All right. So go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. I think the other thing is that these are situations that either all of the cast and crew, I mean, we're all pretty much around our last year of undergrads. These are real life things that are, that are either a part of our lives or we've experienced through our friends' lives. And so there wasn't that much of a reach in some of the material of understanding what those characters are going through.
Right. Yeah, that seems true. I mean, I think Andrew, in your cover letter, you wrote one of your goals was to make something that we want to see but are not seeing right now.
Right.
Talk to that.
Yeah, I just think seeing, our generation on screen by people our age, I think is really important. I think people want to see that. And I just don't think the movies that are, I guess, doing it right now are doing a great job. So I think it just feels more authentic when it's done by, kids our age. And I mean, we were literally in school, in undergrad. So I hope it does relate to, that people can relate to it and feel like it's not just like an exaggeration of that time period.
Right.
I think it's timeless too. Like those themes of like going through a breakup or feeling like unsure about your future. I mean, that's our generation, but also like your generation too, back in the whenever, I'm not going to age you here, but like
well, you're already doing it, buddy.
But like back in 2010.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So
No, it's okay. Truly, no, mine was the '80s, and this is universal. You're absolutely right. These are universal themes, and I could relate to you guys. I mean, I felt like I was part of your group.
Nice.
So yeah, universal themes.
Yeah.
But also, I'm talking to four males here. The women were real too. So how they were well written, well directed, believable. talk to that. How did you get that kind of realism out of your female characters?
I think it was just kind of the same process, just really collaborative. And, I wouldn't, before everything, I would just in general, I would talk to everybody and just be like, how is this scene? Like, do you want to change something? Just really making it so people could give their opinion, and just kind of, taking their advice and almost like reconstructing a scene before we shot. And this is for like every scene too, but yeah, I think it was just the whole process being really collaborative helped.
So the women, would they actually, you said you'd riff. I think John or Dylan said you'd riff or something like that. Did the women, female characters, players actually go and make suggestions and improvise or anything like that?
Oh yeah, like I wanted to make sure, like, I asked them, like, how would you react to the situation if your friend just, hooked up with this guy, and take that and then kind of like construct a scene around that. And I think the scene when Chloe comes in the kitchen, and they're like, Sam's talking to her and telling her, I guess, her opinion on what to do, that was like not really written beforehand. So we kind of like improv'd it together and almost constructed it beforehand, and then went in with like a concrete idea of the scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that the morning after the makeout scene was, it felt, talk about real again. It's like when I think it was 3 or 4 more, the women were in the kitchen the morning after, and it's just like, it just felt almost like it was a documentary, if you will,
Yeah.
You're in the moment. Good job directing female characters, the female actors.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so Dylan and Andrew, what was the writing process like? Did you guys, throw punches? Was it always a pleasant experience, or was there, some challenges along the way?
Dylan can talk too, but it was very hard trying to find a story that we could do with like no money. So we went through a lot of different drafts. I mean, we went through a ton of different stories, and then we landed on this one, which was probably still too big to do, and was still a stretch, but we just kind of had to do it. But yeah, it was very tough. And yeah, Dylan, if you want to go off that.
Yeah, I mean, with that, it was also just really putting ourselves through while we were going to school for film, it was like an additional, like, separate screenwriting crash course of endless rewrites for many months, and then kind of just finally settling on this one and getting a couple drafts going. And I don't know, I would say in this situation where we wouldn't necessarily want to do it again, but the way we did it, it was a very much a living document that went through a lot of changes.
How long was the shoot? How long was production? Too long?
It was long.
It's still going.
Yeah, many funny earlier when you mentioned at least you didn't shoot in the winter, I almost interjected because we had some reshoots in the middle of like a polar vortex in February. So yeah, a lot of reshoots, but yeah, we finished it out. Started in July 2020 and wrapped, that would have been what, June 2021. So less than a year technically.
Got it.
And we had to wait, like the club scene, we waited until there were vaccines and pandemic. We didn't want to pack a place.
Right.
So,
yeah, the pandemic threw a curveball too.
So yeah, that was the last thing we did. But
we actually started shooting in 2020.
Yeah, right?
That's
yeah.
insane.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
We did.
Yeah.
Long time ago. So was there starts and stops? Like, and then Trace, did they call you up and said, "Hey, are you available?" And when are we going to film the next scene? We're not. We'll let you know.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, I was ready to go whenever. Like, this is the best way that I can spend my time. But yeah, I mean, we did our first shoot in July 2020, went back end of August, and then I went back in February for a reshoot, and then our final reshoots in April, I think.
Wow.
So it was a process. I mean, and those second two reshoots, all of us were in school. We were, finals weeks for some people. I had to turn off my camera in class to go film a scene during one of the reshoots. It was crazy, but we were all needing to finish it. Like it wasn't a choice. We wanted to and needed to.
You were all committed.
Yeah.
And what about, did that provide any acting challenges? Like, did you have to like refine the character or recut your hair? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier as a guy because there's not that much going on, take a trip down to Supercuts and you're good. But I think that, as far as the character goes, interestingly enough, I feel like it gave me some time to sit with like, who was this guy that I was with for, a couple months last year, and think about, take another step back and be like, I don't know how I want to go about this, and talk about it with Chloe and be like, hey, I know we have this scene coming up in a couple weeks. What are you thinking? So yeah.
Yeah. So what was, we got time for a couple more questions here. Trace, what was one of your favorite or most memorable experiences with this project?
Oh man. There is one night when we were finishing up. I think this was supposed to be the last scene that we were filming in Bogies, and it was probably 4:30 when we started it, and it was not that long of a scene, probably 20 seconds, but we must have shot that 10-15 takes. I don't know why. I think there's like a mirror thing or something, and we were just all just deliriously tired, so tired. And Robbie was being Robbie and making me laugh a lot. And it was just great leaving that place, taking a picture in front of the bogey sign with like the sun starting to come up, and everyone just kind of feeling like we were really making a movie and we were really in it together. And it was fun.
Nice. Dylan, how about you? A memorable moment or experience?
Oh, for sure, many. I think, and I'm probably stealing John and Andrew's answer here too, but the actually the final shoot that we did was the club scene. And it was, we were able to shoot in a club in downtown Minneapolis, and it was just the shooting the scene itself was fun because it was one of those days where everything felt like, okay, this looks great. This is, shooting in Steadicam. It was just like a fun day full of energy. And we didn't totally know it at the time. We thought that we were maybe gonna have to shoot like one more scene in a couple of weeks. So we didn't fully understand that it was our last time, like our final day. But we still went, we actually went to Bogies after and had a couple of beers, just kind of celebrated being done with that big shoot. Yeah, it's a good memory to look back on.
Cool. John, how about you? Some highlights?
Yeah, well, first, I just think overcoming everything we came through was really just the overall highlight. Like Dylan mentioned, like every good memory is also, there's just like a memory of like stress too. Like that club day, we were literally on the streets of downtown Minneapolis asking strangers to come and be extras because we had like we were just like crunched for time. We're like, we need to like get more people to like make this more lively. So like Van was like in costume and it's like his disco, just like asking random people to come in.
Did you get some? Did you recruit some people off the street?
I don't know. I don't think we got anybody, but it worked out. So I think, yeah, like just all the hard times, late nights that made it all worth it is just the overall, I think, proving that, if we make another movie, it's, yeah, sure, it'll be stressful, but you would think we would hope that like there's no way it could be that like down to the wire as it was this time. Maybe it could be, but yeah, just all those memories.
And those moments make the crew tighter, the cast and crew, a family, right? And
Absolutely.
And you got some good people when you get through those tough times. It's like, oh, I still like being with these people. They're not driving me crazy. Andrew, how about you? Highlights, some memories you want to share?
Yeah, I think the club was just so fun because we had this DJ come in. I don't remember who it was, but we were basically simulating a live club. So Shane, our DP at the time, he basically was just with a steady cam in the middle of like a live club, just like capturing people dancing. I can't even believe he didn't get injured or the camera didn't break or anything. But yeah, we did that for like 30 minutes, and then basically I just cutting that was fun, you know, into a minute and a half of like an hour of footage.
Right on. Yeah, I do want to point out that one scene. I just remembered it real quick. I like the I forgot the character's name, but the 3 points to success, and then you put the fawn over. That made me laugh out loud. Cool. And so, what'd you guys learn? One or two more questions. What'd you learn, Andrew? What'd you learn from? What's some advice you give another filmmaker?
I mean, I learned that was literally, it was like basically film school. Like, I mean, I went to film school, but I did not learn anything to this degree before. I mean, this is like,
so if you really want to learn something, do the real thing.
yeah. I mean, I hadn't even worked with a crew before we shot this. So it was, yeah, I mean, I just feel a lot more confident about going into another one, like just way more confident.
Yeah. John, how about you? Takeaway? I learned?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing is just the importance of like the relationships with cast and crew, and locations. You never know when you're going to need to like come back to someone to ask them to come back for a reshoot, right, Trace? Or you have to go back to a location saying we missed a shot, we got to come back in. So just making sure you maintain those properly and, you know, and strong for any future purpose.
Tracy, segue to you. What's a moment? What's something you learned or want to share?
Yeah, John touched on it, but I would say just constant communication between all parts of if possible, if you have a smaller production like we did, communication with everyone, because this was not, we talk about collaboration, and I feel like oftentimes people's minds go to like, oh, I have an idea, like let's use it, and then you start using it immediately and it's all hunky-dory. But that is not the case. Like we had disagreements, and like because we cared about what we were making a lot, and so we weren't without our disagreements and our tough decision making over the process. But that was what was so cool about it, because I feel like we all learned a lot on like how to communicate with one another and how to think about what is really important for each of us for whatever it might be. Because there's so many different things flying at the same time between lighting and character choices and directing and everything and where we're going next and how we have to finish up the scene and which scene do we want to prioritize giving more time to. And we were lucky enough to have a crew that was insanely good. All of the crew is so good and so helpful and so important to like the morale of set. And none of that would have been possible if we weren't telling each other like what was on our mind and what we wanted to prioritize and what we were thinking, and being open to hearing each other for those things too.
Nice. Well said. Dylan, what'd you learn?
Well, yeah, they all touched on great points. I think kind of as John was saying, putting together a team of just the people that are the right fit for the production and for there's people we get along with. I think there's really something to be said for like that initial feeling you get when you're talking to somebody as you're hiring people, as you're putting your team together, because they're long days or long hours, and you know being with people who all gel together. As we just went along, we really started to find our groove with that, and that's an amazing thing. And then also, I guess from a general production standpoint too, not leaving a scene until like Andrew especially is happy with it. You know, that's kind of across the board. There's always, as anyone I'm sure who's worked on a movie knows, like there's always a hurry up, like we gotta go because there's so much to do, so little time. But we kind of learned our lesson the hard way that if you leave a scene and you don't feel like we got it, you know, it'll come back to haunt you a little bit. Yeah. So that was another big thing for sure.
Very cool. All right, well, this is all the time we have. Short and brief. You guys don't want any parting words or shout outs or anything like that? This is your last moment, if it's real quick. Dylan, how about you? Anything else you want to add?
No, just thank you to you all at San Francisco Indie Fest for showing our movie and giving us a chance for people to, you know, see it, because that's at the end of the day, we just want people to see the movie.
Right on. How about you other guys? Want to say anything else?
Yeah, retweet, same as Dylan. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Hi,
Yeah,
Mom.
thank you
I'm
guys.
next.
All right. It's good to have you here. Well, thanks to Dylan, John, Andrew, and Trace. That's all the time we have. Thanks to everyone for watching Undergrads and other films, supporting independent films, and check out more at sfindie.com. All righty, buddy. Good to meet you. I hope to meet you in person someday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hi, Jason.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jason.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.